We're going to be talking about cold calls now. I don't know about you, but nothing makes my blood boil more than cold calls. I've had so many of them in the last few weeks. I have no idea why. There's been a rash of them. You race to answer the phone, then you find somebody's trying to sell you something and trying to sound like your best friend. I find them really annoying. I'm sure you do too. There doesn't seem to be much you can do. Or is there? One man has come up with a genius answer. He has a premium rate number. So every time a cold caller rings him, they're paying through the nose for it. He's Lee Beaumont from Leeds, and he's on the line now. Hello, Lee.
Good morning, how are you doing?
I'm all right. I've got to ask, because we have to think of the BBC licence fee payers. How much is this call costing us per minute?
7 pence a minute.
£7 a minute. OK, we better talk fast then. So what made you set up this number then?
Well, it started in 2011. I was watching Coronation Street and keep getting the PPI calls. But I used to work nights, so it could have been my boss asked me to come in early.
Yeah.
I needed to answer the phone. And I thought there must be a way to make a few quid out of this. It just must be. Started looking into 0800 numbers, 0845, 0870, etc. Managed to find a perfect company. I can't name the company for BBC reasons.
Right. Yeah, no, don't do that.
I paid £10 plus VAT for an 0871 number, no monthly line rental, no yearly renewal fee. It sits on top of my normal Leeds number.
Right.
So when I get a phone call, I literally make 7p a minute.
So instead of trying to get them off the phone, do you try and keep them on the phone?
Legally, I'm not allowed to try my best to keep them on the phone.
Right.
But if I can't understand them, I can ask them to repeat itself 2 or 3 times.
OK. How much money have you made from this then?
Since 2011 November, I've made over £300.
£300?
Yeah.
There must be some restrictions on these numbers, though, aren't there? I mean, not everybody... Can anybody just buy one?
Anybody. I think you've got a statement there that you're going to read after this call from the regulator.
Yeah.
And they don't encourage it, but it's not breaking the code.
No, because, I mean, the regulator says that if you have got one of these phone liner, you've got to meet consumer protection standards. That's transparency, fairness, complaint handling, and you've got to set out those costs. So do you do that?
I publicise my number 2 ways. On my email signature, and underneath the number, I put my call is 10p a minute from BT landline, mobile, all that palaver. I also advertise in the BT phone book, which is covered by the BT rules at the back of the phone book. But I also when I have a problem with a company, I won't ring the company. I'll tweet the company on Twitter, ask them to call me. I'll put my 0871 number, then in brackets, this call costs 10p a minute. So I'm covering myself each week. I need to, by law, tell them how much it's going to cost them to ring me. Right.
What's been the reaction when you get cold calls and they realise they're ringing a premium rate number? Do they hang up?
Sometimes they do.
Right.
If it's a foreign call centre, they don't really understand, so they'll still blather on.
Right.
If they know what's happening, they'll hang up.
So what about your friends and your family? Does that mean nobody rings you anymore because they don't want to be paying to call you?
They have my normal Leeds number.
Right.
I still have my normal line rental and normal Leeds number with a telephone provider. But my 08 number sits on top of it. So even if my 08 number rings or my Leeds number rings, the same phone will ring.
OK, what do you mean it sits on top of it? I don't understand what you mean by that.
Like, I have my basic phone line.
Yeah.
My basic Leeds number.
Yeah.
The 0871 sits on top of it. That's connected to the line, but I don't need a second phone line installed.
Oh, I see. So how do these companies know to ring your premium rate number and not your normal number? Because phone companies seem to be able to get, or these companies seem to be able to get hold of your number so easily. How is it that they've all got the premium rate one?
Well, I changed my normal Leeds number once a year. When my contract comes up for renewal, a part of the contract renewal is I change my number.
Right.
But sometimes PPI companies will just generate normal UK phone numbers. Don't know who they are, they'll just generate them. They won't phone me because I have an 08 number. How I got around it is my normal utility suppliers, gas, electric, phone, broadband, council tax, even the water board. I've removed my home number and gave them my 08 number.
Oh, I see.
So they called me on it, and I know they don't admit it, but they do pass on details.
Well, lists do get passed on. Yeah, lists do get sold and passed on, don't they? So you make sure that anybody who might have a list, they get that number online.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. So if any of your friends thought, hey, that's a good idea, I might try that.
Well, 2 of my friends have started it, but because they wasn't making enough money, they stopped it. Because people think it's a get quick rich scheme.
No. Yeah.
Last month I made £4. The month before it was £2. Some months I make nothing, so I can make up to £10 sometimes.
Do you get fewer cold calls since you've done this?
Sorry?
Do you get fewer cold calls since you did this?
Yeah, I used to get about 30 a month. This month, about 13.
Okay, so the level's dropped?
The level has dropped, and I'm making a few quid on the ones that I do get. So it's a win-win situation for me.
Well, it's ingenious. I've got to give you that, Lee. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. I better go now because we've been paying £7 a minute for this. Thank you, Lee. Lee Beaumont from Leeds. It's quite an idea.